All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. After a pair of easy home wins against West Virginia and Delaware, respectively, the Penn State Nittany Lions began Big Ten Conference play today, and they had to do it on the road in Champaign against an Fighting Illini team from Illinois that was one win away from making the Big Ten championship game last December. But when it was all said and done this afternoon, Penn State not only was able to get out of Champaign with the 30-13 win, but they also showed that they are once again going to be in the mix to win the Big Ten. Now, this was the first true road start of the young quarterback career collegiately for Penn State starting quarterback Drew Aller. It wasn't pretty, but it's a win and it's a building block going forward for this offense. Aller was just 16 of 33 passing today for 208, no touchdowns, but also most importantly, no interceptions. The Nittany Lions did have 164 big yards on the ground. As you look at the speedsters coming out of that backfield with Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen, and it's not just about their ability to carry the ball; it's also their ability to come out of that backfield and show that versatility as receivers. And then, I talked about this Penn State defense, and they really reigned supreme today. They forced 5 Illini turnovers, including 4 interceptions by quarterback Luke Allmeyer. And coming into this game during my weekly picks, I talked about Allmeyer being up and down so far this season. He came into this contest with 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. That came against teams that were not on the caliber of Penn State. No disrespect to Toledo or Kansas, but nonetheless, you know, he got exposed a little bit more against a Penn State defense that is definitely going to be among the best in this conference this year. Now, if you're Penn State head coach James Franklin, you know that you once again have a darn good team in Happy Valley. But of course, like it has been throughout Franklin's time there at Penn State, it's going to come down to whether or not his team can beat Michigan or Ohio State. Of course, this is the last year of the divisional format in the Big Ten. And being in the Big Ten East, Penn State has a dance with both Michigan and Ohio State every single year. The record has not been stellar for James Franklin against those two clubs. And facing Michigan and Ohio State, that's not only been the only thing, or struggling rather against Michigan and Ohio State, has not only been something that has prevented Penn State from winning the Big Ten championship more. They do have one Big Ten championship under Franklin, but then also it has prevented them from making the college football playoff. And you think about it, Penn State, they won the Rose Bowl last year. This is a team that has gotten to their fair share of New Year's Six bowl games under Franklin. They won the Fiesta Bowl, 2 Rose Bowl appearances. They also won the Cotton Bowl. The only thing, again, they just got to try to find a way to get over the hump. Will this be the year for Penn State? We got to wait and see. But on the flip side, this Illini defense, they're not as good as they were last year. And of course, I talked about this. Their defensive coordinator, Ryan Walters, is now the head coach at Purdue, and their running game is not as good as it was a year ago under head coach Brett Bielema. And these are the things that, when you think about a Brett Bielema-led team, are the backbone, if you will. And for Illinois to have success this year in the Big Ten West, eventually that defense and running game is going to get going. You figure Penn State was in control of this contest early on for the most part, and it looked like it was going to be a runaway, if you will. They were up 13-0. A bad unsportsmanlike penalty led to a 52-yard field goal attempt, which was blocked. The Illini were then able to mount a drive to make it 13-7. But then Penn State got another field goal, the third by Falcons, just before the end of the first half to make it 16-7. Scored late in the third quarter to go up 23-7, and at that point, it was all over except the shouting. So if you're Illinois, definitely you got time to rebound in the Big Ten West. I don't think that anybody's going to run away with that division again, as the race to get to Indianapolis in December is on. But nonetheless, you look at this Nittany Lions team. To me, I think James Franklin doesn't get enough credit. for the recruits that he's brought to Happy Valley. He doesn't get enough credit for the wins that he's gotten there as well. Again, it just comes down to his inability to consistently beat Michigan and Ohio State so far in his tenure there with Penn State. With this Penn State team in particular for 2023, with Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton in that backfield and this stingy defense and this Penn State defense, they're getting after people this year. And I think they could be very special in the Big Ten when it's all said and done. And because of those elements, and I think Aller is going to get better as the season progresses. And like I said, this was a good stepping point for him this afternoon to build off of. Penn State is going to be a tough team once again come late October, November, and potentially into December. But if you're the Nittany Lions, great way to start your Big Ten campaign this year with a road win. Road conference wins are never easy to get in college football, especially when you're still trying to work through things this early in the season. But for Penn State, they're off to a strong start in the Big Ten, and let's see if they can keep building forward to try to do even bigger and better things in the next couple of months. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you are on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.